Managing digital experience applications is quite the balancing act. Between providing the freedom and flexibility to create amazing experiences for your users and still maintaining control of your growing fleet of sites and applications. Achieve that perfect balance with Platform.sh. Platform.sh is a cloud-based end-to-end platform that enables you to efficiently build, host, scale, and secure sites and applications without worrying about infrastructure, whether it's 10 sites or 10,000. Because when infrastructure and workflows are taken care of, teams are free to focus more on what really matters. Everything you need to power your sites is available from the start, and then maintained, hosted, and secured by Platform.sh. Databases and other services can be easily implemented into your sites with just a line of code, letting you launch faster. Instant cloning creates perfect production replicas in moments. Developers can work and test in parallel across an unlimited number of environments and then merge with production flawlessly and fearlessly. Plus, code can be written in whatever programming language works for your teams, making code more flexible and future-proof. And without traditional bottlenecks to deal with, every update can be deployed with complete confidence, anytime, anywhere, across your entire fleet. Yes, even on Fridays. Freedom and control balanced together in one platform. Learn more and try for free at platform.sh.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. This Deploy Friday episode, we will talk about Oracle Helidon. I'm here with Shad Carlson. Hello, Shad. How are you?
Hey, Otavio. Thanks for having me on with you. How's it going, everyone?
That's amazing. Right now, we have two Dmitrys. Hello, Dmitry. How are you?
Hey, doing well.
Hola, mis amigos brasileiros.
Oh, cool. Today's Black Friday, by the way. Do you know that we are talking on Black Friday?
That we are.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we are.
So do you have any discounts there at Platform?
Yeah, Otavio, do you have any discounts for us?
Oh, that's a good question. I will give that question to Shad. Shad, do you have any discount today? I have no idea.
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm sure that we can hook you guys up with a free 30-day trial.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, sounds good.
This is awesome. Okay, so you're going to paste the code somewhere in the chat, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can give you a free trial of Helidon in this case.
Oh, fantastic.
It's not bound to Black Friday. It's just always free.
Sure.
Yeah, possibly it was a bad joke because people could think that it's kind of, commercial stuff.
Okay. So let's start because a lot of people are curious about Helidon. So the first question for sure is, what is Helidon?
If you know Greek language, right, that Helidon is a swallow, right? So we used to have some kind of a coins with a swallow there. We call it Helidoni. I don't have a spelling in Greek, but that's basically swallow, right? And why swallow? Why we kind of named our framework swallow? It's because we have some associations, right? So swallow is small, swallow is fast, and great maneuverability, flying high in the clouds. So it's a kind of association we have, right? So coming back to what Helidon is. Helidon is a microservices framework. So you can build microservices using Helidon. It's not an application server. It's a microservices framework or a set of libraries, which basically you use to write your application, write your service. It has two flavors. We call it flavors, right? So it's actually development experiences. One is, this is what we recommend as a micro profile. So you can write using annotations, using your favorite specifications from the older days or from the newer days, Jakarta E-Stat and so on, and micro profile. And it has, Mitya call it danger zone. But it's actually a set of reactive APIs, very fast APIs to basically you can use it directly to create even faster, even smaller microservices applications. Mitya, do you have anything to add?
Well, I just want to say it is awesome. I'm not so long part of this project, but I've already been playing a lot with him, and I was, even before joining the team, that was definitely one of the choices we used in production, because it's small, they are, as you said, really maneuverable, and they give you these two flavors. So definitely worth trying, and definitely is production ready. I mean, really production ready, and definitely worth used in your applications. So just amazing stuff.
Okay, we have one more question about it. Is Helidon open source?
Oh yeah, forgot to say, right? So Helidon is open source. You can go to github.com/oracle/Helidon. And it's actually Apache 2 licensed, right? So feel free to use Helidon. The license is not restrictive. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so feel free to contribute as well. That means that the different PRs, so we are watching for PRs from not only Oracle, actually. We are watching from PRs from all over the world, and there are some ideas about integrations, etc., etc. And as I saw in my eyes, some integrations were already done. So it's a live product, and it's really getting like developed with a high velocity.
Yeah, and actually, you said Oracle Helidon. It's not Oracle Helidon, right? It's just, we call it Project Helidon, right? So Oracle is there because the team working on Helidon is actually an Oracle team, right? But it's just Project Helidon. Oracle is just somewhere behind it.
Absolutely.
Okay, if you want to know more, here you go, helidon.io, where you can get more information. So feel free to try. And there is one question from Heno guy. What is the need for Helidon? When should I use? How should I use?
Okay, maybe I can you should dig in with this question. So Helidon, as I said, is a framework, not exactly a framework. It's a set of libraries, because if you Google for or Wikipedia, search in Wikipedia for what is a framework, what is a micro framework, what is a what is not a micro framework, etc., etc. So there's a set of libraries. So whenever you need microservices, Helidon is definitely one of your choices, one of the good choices. Why? Because as you say, it's really small. That means that all the memory footprints, all the startup times, all the disk usages are really small. And once again, as we said, it gives you two flavors. That means that as great supporters of microprofile, that means that you can run your application, write your applications in a standard way. That means if you are trying to develop your applications using microprofile, that means that Helidon is definitely the project that supports them in full case. It means that everything is supported. I believe version 3.3 is now fully supported. Please, Dmitry, correct me if I'm wrong. And once again, if you really need faster application, it means you still have to do microservices, but you need great performance, and you don't want to make them like well, your focus is performance. Then you got this, as Dmitry mentioned, my favorite combination, call it danger zone. You get this reactive APIs, which makes your applications really, really small. I mean, really megabytes, including all the libraries. And the startup times are just amazing. Like, even without native image, by the way, they're so fast. And as it's one of the choices we have to, may you like it, is that it's Java 11 already. So we're using all the benefits of the new Java. Yes, that means that no compromises. That means that we are really using all of the necessary, how you say, tuned with performance, new features, let us say so. Dmitry, may you add something?
Oh, sounds good. So for cloud native applications, Helidon is one of the choices, right? So it means that what's needed for the cloud. Small footprint, right? We have it, right? We even have 2 flavors, smaller and the super smaller, right? And small memory consumption, we have it too, right? Support of cloud native APIs such as health check, metrics, tracing, and so on, observability stuff. We do have it too. So we think that Helidon is a perfect choice for cloud native applications. And supporting standards makes us even stronger, right? So,
by the way, this idea of metrics and health checks, which are available in MicroProfile, they are also available in this smaller footprint reactive APIs. Actually, reactive APIs underneath are wrapped over with MicroProfile specifications, so you get both in both worlds.
Oh, that's good to know. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say a little bit about supporting standards, which is our kind of one of our key features. So, for instance, you are going to a trip, right? What kind of car do you use, right? So you have a choice. You can have a car with standard wheels, absolutely standard, and you can change it anywhere. And on every service you can fix it, or you can have a car with slightly not standard wheels, right? It means that kind of everything is fine. It's fast and good. But if something happens, you may have problems of changing your wheels, right? So using this kind of, example, Helidon is a car on the standard wheels. Right.
Okay. By the way, if you there's a question about if there's any website or any YouTube video where you can explain more about Helidon. Do you have Twitch? Do you have YouTube channel?
Oh yeah,
about Helidon?
we do have a YouTube channel, right? But I don't remember the link to our YouTube channel.
Just type in Helidon in YouTube and you will get to the channel immediately.
Yeah.
That lists 10 videos already, which do explanations about, quick starters, about different small features, and there are even greater videos with about 20 minutes long videos explaining like different integrations with buzzwords like Kafka, etc., all the streaming stuff. So you just yes. So you see, Otavio is very good at googling and searching, so he was really fast. And yes, join us. There's a Medium .org, I guess.
.com. Medium.com/Helidon.
Yes, /Helidon, when you can find different articles about it. And of course, Twitter is one of the big places to find to actually follow the events, because now there are lots of events, and myself did some presentations. By the way, there's going to be some conference next week, like J Love. So I'll do some introduction to Helidon. So feel free to join. I guess it's a free conference.
Okay. There's one question about that, because you explained about, okay, I have the standard way and I don't have the standard way. So I need to choose between those options, right? I believe that's Helidon SE and Helidon MP, right? Could you explain a little bit more the standard that Helidon implements, and each one should I choose in each scenario?
Right. So we have Helidon MP, which is microprofile support, right? This is where we support standards. So microprofile itself is a kind of de facto standard, right? And we support currently the latest version of that. It's version 3.3. You can Google it. If Santiago will be fast and Google to microprofile 3.3, he'll put a link
Otavio,
there.
yes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
What specifications I supported there? So I was talking about observability specs like metrics, health checks, like tracing. Where is also JWT client? Where is also REST client? Where is also configuration and free specs, if I remember well, free specs from Jakarta EE, which is JSON processing, JSON binding, CDI, of course, and I think the latest microprofile has common annotations too, right? So these Jakarta EE specs, they came from Java EE world, right? And supported by microprofile. Again, CDI is the main there, and JAX RESTful web services, of course, right? So basically what it means that if you have your older application written on enterprise Java or Jakarta E8, right? You can basically transform it to microservice based on not only Helidon, based on microprofile, basically easily, right? So it won't work. No, for some implementations it may work just by running it using another runtime. But the key point here that the migration will be very easy, and this is the key point of the standards, that you can migrate your application if you don't like your runtime for some reason. Right, so you don't like Helidon, you can move to Quarkus. You don't like Quarkus, you can move to Micronaut and this kind of stuff, right? So which is definitely an advantage, right? So another thing about supporting standards I would like to mention is we fully support CDI, right? So CDI support is very important, and we support it in full. Right, so we actually use Welt, slightly customized version of Welt in Helidon, right? So we support all CDI extensions, right, which are available on the market. And what's cool here is that we managed to make our Welt customized stuff GraalVM native image friendly, right? So what it means that you can have your application which uses standard CDI, compile it to your native image, and it will be native image with all the advantages of almost instant startup time, with the lowest memory consumption, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So this is great. About non-standard stuff, right? So I was talking about Helidon MP. It's one of our flavors. Then we have Helidon SE, which is the reactive API's danger zone, as Mitya says, right? And this is not standard, right? There are no standards for reactive APIs. This development experience is absolutely different. You actually write reactive code. You actually don't use annotations. You don't use dependency injection. Which sounds a little bit scary, but it's actually a big fun. You are kind of doing a proper programming. You know what I mean, right? So the APIs itself are, for instance, our RESTful services there was inspired by Express.js from the JavaScript world, which actually makes easy for JavaScript developers migrate to Helidon SE, right? And I've seen some tweets that this programming model is similar to Go, right? So no comments here. I'm not a Go developer, never done any Go application, but at least what I've seen, what I bought, I'm selling, right? Yeah.
Yes, may I join you in this discussion about SE? So once again, MP is the standard wheels way. But what is good about Helidon that you can not use the standard wheels. You can put on the, I don't know how you say, hot rod wheels or whatever it is. So just to make it really fast. And that means that this reactive API, so in my experience and the experience we have with some of our friends from different projects which we're integrating right now, it is extremely intuitive. That means that unlike MPUA, so where you have a lot of magic, so let us say magic, you put an annotation and suddenly works. So here you got pure Java. I mean, really pure Java. You do something, you put the dot, and you get a list of functions by your EDE, let us say, favorite EDA, so EDE, about what you can do with this object. Yes, so that means that just developing in SE flavor is really like writing Java program. And by the way, regular Java program, I mean, not with the magic. And it's really cool because in the result, you got pure Java And pure Java means that it's really easily used again in this native worlds. It is fast, it is predictable, it is debuggable, and all of the good stuff you have with it. So yes, you got two possibilities.
Oh, nice. We got a nice comment here. Finally, I found the chat mode. So please, once you find, put your question. Now is the opportunity to you raise your question about Helidon, right?
Yeah, Michael.
That's
Hi,
amazing.
Michael.
I just want to know why you guys call it the danger zone. Is it just that, as intuitive as it might be, that's just still not something that?
It's him. Right?
Oh yes, that was my proposal of saying this. But danger zone, you see, 80% of modern development is done with annotation. That means that, I did a little bit different comparison in my talks. Like MP is like a jetliner when you fly with comfort, like very stable, and you're enjoying the flight. As for SE, it's like a fighter jet, so it's really cool, maneuverable, and you can do everything with it. Maybe it's not that comfortable, but the main idea that 80% of the development is done like in MP style. So really few annotations and you're done. And it's good because the trade-off for using annotations is really, really small. I mean, so you don't feel much difference. Yes, there will be difference in resulting sizes of the image, of the startup times, because then you have CDI, you also have to initialize it, etc., etc. But danger zone, that means that you got the full control. This is what I mean by danger zone. So you don't have all the, not exactly security measures, but you got the full control.
Mm-hmm.
Full control, that means you get pure Java, you're writing in pure Java functions, no magic happening. It is, as I said, fast and debuggable, and you got and you can just customize every moment of this development. So once again, you got a lot of power in your hand, and you have to be responsible. I mean, so with great power, great responsibility.
Yeah, blame
That's
yourself.
why I call it.
No, if you've done something wrong, blame yourself, right? So,
but you can easily debug it
put
when
this
you're wrong.
annotation
Sure.
there, and it's supposed to do this, and that, but it does this, and that only, and this one doesn't work for me, right? So you are blaming the framework, right? But in Helidon SE, you don't have annotations. So what you wrote, you had it, right? So just debug it, man.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see
Okay.
people maybe transferring? I'm probably a little bit more familiar with the Go side of playing around with microservices than Java, but do you see people exploring the possibility of, oh, this is what SE gives me. This is kind of attractive. Maybe I should start thinking about not just migrating to Helidon, but MP to SE and start putting a little bit more of that into the way that they develop their applications?
Actually, it depends on the use cases, right?
Sure.
So if you have a simple use case, like you need to create a database-driven application, like simple JPA stuff, then I would recommend MP. It's easy, it works, and the standards are kind of proven, right? So it's fine. But if you need something like streaming processing, let's put it this way, or you need to write something like, let's say, trading systems, right? There you receive some data, you process the data, and you need to do it fast, and there is a lot of data, and you need to be not only fast, but use the smallest amount of memory, and so on and so on. Then MP can reach your limits, right? Because of all their, background stuff it has, maybe it's not needed for you.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, you are choosing something which is which you have more control of, right? So, and Helidon SE in this case is a great choice. It's reactive too, right? So, with a proper usage, it will be very fast and very efficient.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Once again, we are not as many frameworks in my, at least is some of I know that they're just, they're built on top of something like microkernels, etc. So Helidon is good. Like SE is also exposed to the user. That means it's not something hidden inside, which is used by the cover of MP, but it's just available to the user, and it's done in a nice user-friendly way once again. So this makes it powerful.
I can see that, getting that greater control. We have another question actually from the chat stream. Maybe you know of any particular really great use cases or examples, but what are some companies that come to mind that are already using Helidon, and what problems really seem to be solved by companies like these?
This is kind of confidential stuff, right? So, we can't really say about the companies who is using Helidon because we can't, right? So what we can say that there are companies which are using Helidon, yes, right? And there are big companies which are using Helidon, yes, right? What kind of use cases we have? So as far as I know, the use case is kind of similar for all of them, is upgrading from monolith applications to microservices. And we've been choosing from different microservices frameworks, and the Helidon was their choice, mainly because of the strong standard support.
Sure. Okay. So what maybe about Helidon makes that transfer a little easier, a little, I mean, you have the strong standard support, but the transition from a monolith application to microservices in the first place is like an interesting decision. Is the standard support behind it? It's what makes it a lot easier for users like this, or what have you seen there in how Helidon helps people even make the decision in the first place that they want to split up their app that way?
No, but Helidon doesn't force the decision of splitting up, right? So it's a decision made by customer, and it's not because of Helidon, it's because we want to, there can be many reasons, right? We want to go to the cloud, could be one of the reasons. Another reason that we want to make your application more modern, or we want to increase the scalability, or whatever. There can be millions of reasons, right? How Helidon can help there, right? So if it was Java application or Jakarta application, definitely can help because, as I was saying, the standard support, their migration to microservices becomes some kind of a copy-pasting code from your or strangle fig pattern, right? So you take a part of your monolith, extract a microservice out of it, and if it's standard-based and your previous application was standard-based, so it becomes kind of a copy-pasted stuff, right? And standard support guarantees, right? Standard's supposed to work the same way on your application server and in your Helidon microcontainer or whatever. It guarantees that the behavior you had will be the same, right? So I think it's good.
Okay, once again, let me add something. Like one of the, clouds are everywhere right now. So if you're not migrating to cloud, that means that something is wrong. At least people think so. So that means that once again, microprofile is like a key guarantee here for your application to use standard. That means it will behave the same way as it was before if you have some functionality there. Another thing is that once again, the sizes of or something that you pay for the platform. That means the startup time, the size of the image, the memory consumption. Well, network usage is something different here, but well, at least these three parameters. Helidon gives you the choice to choose. Like you got the standard way of doing it, or you even can start with a standard way of doing it and then just migrate to something like more specific. That means you can migrate from MP to SE, for example, if you find that this special particular piece of code is really a hot spot on your for your application, and you can just quite easily rewrite this code and migrate it there. and receive huge benefits on the very same platform.
Mhm.
At least
Okay.
you always have this choice. Yes.
Right. Okay. Is there any difference in, say, the experience of adding an additional microservice between these two flavors of Helidon? Just out of curiosity.
Well, you see, the API itself is so clean that in one case you just annotate it in microprofile way. So you just
Right.
annotate something like resource, and you're done. The other way is that it's really like routing dots something, just delegates function who actually does the job, and I believe every even I don't know, not a university student, but school student who likes programming will really see how easy it is because one-liner or something. That's why I said in the beginning that the API itself very intuitive, and I believe it's quite easy. It's really easy this way.
You should try it. You should
You just
switch
should
from
try.
Go to Helidon.
I will
By
try
the
it.
way, you can easily try it quite easily because Helidon does have its own CLI application, so it's also available on the website. You can check it. That helps you create cool quick starter projects with you just type in like init, you answer a few questions, and you get all the flavors. It creates you the applications. It gives you all the code. It's commented. It's testing. It's testable, etc., etc. So yes, when you create, for example, MP application, there's small amounts of code because there's a lot of magic of the annotations. When you dive into SE flavor, a little bit more code, but it's really easily readable, and you should try it because it works out of the box. It works like from scratch, and if you have no experience with that, it will be really easy for you to start with. So I highly recommend, yes, you try with the CLI. It will help you for a good start.
Yes, as Platform said, we also have a simple project that use Helidon that is really easy. If you go to this link below us, you can deploy application in the cloud with a single click with Helidon. That's amazing, isn't it? Whoa, yes.
Yes, wonderful.
Next
Okay,
question.
next question. There's one question about the engine Helidon that works on top of Netty.
Yeah, so
Uh,
that's SE, which works on top of Netty, right?
It's
So
possible to use Reactor Netty from Spring with Helidon. Can I replace
I
this
don't think
engine?
I uh, I'm not technical enough to answer that question, but to be fair, I don't think so, right? So Reactor, if you are talking about Spring Project Reactor, right? So we don't use it. We have our own reactive implementation in Helidon SE. By the way, reactive streams was contributed to us by David Karnock. David Karnock is a father of Project Reactor, right? So we actually, Helidon SE is a really fast reactive streams implementation, so possibly fastest, right? I don't have numbers, right, to say that it's really fastest, but we did some measurement at least, and we have some slides actually we presented on the conferences that we are at least sometimes twice faster than we measured with small Rai.
Small right.
Okay, There is one question from Karina Macedo Varela. Hello, Karina. How are
Hello,
you?
Karina.
Is there already full enterprise support for Helidon?
We do have enterprise support for Helidon for existing WebLogic customers. So if you a WebLogic customer, then you are eligible for Helidon support.
Whoa, the next one will be a good one.
Oh, I'm scared already.
Okay.
Welcome to the fight moment between frameworks. This
Oh.
time
we
is
were expecting
frameworks.
this, yes.
Yeah. Here you go. The question from Vitor Felipe: is there any advantage to that you can politically say that Helidon is more than Quarkus, for example?
Yeah. By the way, we love Quarkus, right? So I think it's really good stuff. So Red Hat folks did really good job, right, to make a microservices framework, and we're actually quite happy that Quarkus is there because this is something we can compete with, right? So what's the advantages? I see the huge advantage is that our standards compatibility. I think I'm saying it already 20 times during this meeting, right? Right? Quarkus doesn't fully support CDI, right? So it has implementation, CDI implementation, which is not fully compatible with the CDI standard, right? So CDI portable extensions, which exist on the market already, won't work with Quarkus. They have their own extensions for many use cases, but this is not really fully standards compliant, right? And in this case, Helidon comes with a full standards compatibility, and all extensions will work fine with Helidon. And actually, we had customers who had chosen Helidon only because of that.
Wow.
By the way,
And
let me add something here.
Okay.
So as a part of this project, I was playing with some integrations, and it was really funny to see how you just drop in an integration, which is a CDI extension, for example. Yes, you just drop it in. It is working for an absolutely different framework. I won't give names right now. It's working something like, and it's totally different area, but it's a standard CDI. And we just drop it in, and you just give a dependency there in the POM file in Maven, and it suddenly starts working without any questions, etc., etc. So standards, yes, once again, as I say, standards plus speed. That means these are two key factors for us. So it's a very, very, very performant implementations of standards. So this is my definition of Helidon.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Is another advantage I see that we actually, as part of Helidon, we have the danger zone stuff, right? So the reactive APIs, what we have is another flavor of Helidon, and as far as I remember, no other framework had that.
Okay, let me see if I got it. The difference between Helidon and Quarkus is Helidon has full support to CDI. Turned down for what moment? Where my glass is going down this way. That's amazing. Let's see if you have more question here. Actually, there's one question. What is the current status of Helidon? Let's make this question in 3 because there's a release for MicroProfile 4, right? Could you tell us about?
MicroProfile 4 is not released itself yet, right? So MicroProfile 4 is on development at the moment, right? And we are preparing for that, right? And this is a huge deal, by the way. And there are going to be some backwards and compatible changes. So possibly Helidon 3 will support MicroProfile 4, right? And it will be available sometimes next year. We don't have any dates yet, right? So the latest currently supported version is 3.3, so it's basically the last from MicroProfile 3.x, right? About the plans, so MicroProfile is definitely one of our goals right? So we will support microprofile, and Helidon MP is all about microprofile. When new version of microprofile released, we will follow it, and we'll try to be first of releasing the implementation. We'll see how it goes, right? So far, we actually been first for at least some of the versions of microprofile, which is cool, right? We also support some microprofile specs which are not a part of their microprofile, how to say that, microprofile spec, right? So for instance, we are planning to add GraphQL, right? We are planning to add array, right? It's and actually the work is in progress already, right? So it will be there in the next version of Helidon. No, next version possibly not, but it will be released soon. Let's put it this way. Also, we already support messaging and reactive streams specs, microprofile specs, which are also not a part of microprofile umbrella, or how to call it, microprofile numbered specification, right? What else? We are still adding some experimental features to Helidon, right? So as for Helidon 2, we added Helidon DB client, Helidon web client, and so on and so on. So this work is progressing. So we're adding new features. We are making it faster. We're making it more stable, and so on and so on, right? And Graal VM work, right? So this is our another priority. So we do support Graal VM and Helidon in both versions. In SE, it's easy because there are no reflection by design, right? In MP, it's more complicated. We've done really huge work to make Weld work with Graal VM, right? Without any kind of serious modifications, let's put it this way. And now we are trying to extend our Graal VM support. So we are trying to add another database drivers, which will work fine with Graal VM. We are trying to make sure that some third-party libraries works fine with Graal VM, with Helidon, and so on and so on and so on. So this is our other priority.
Yeah, so let me add here something like, so there's a lot of experience gained in doing native stuff. That means that whenever we do some CDI extensions, so whenever we wrap the implementation, so as SE is a pure Java, so it's quite easily done to compile it to native ahead of time. But for example, for CDI stuff, we have a lot of experience there. That means that every extension we do it with the how you say, work to become native image compilable. So from the very beginning. And if, for example, there's some third-party drivers, they are already compatible with native image, we will do this from scratch. So this integration will be done from scratch. So we have some examples already. And by the way, the DB client is also something I believe the team of Helidon is very proud, because it's like making your blocking drivers work in a reactive unblocking way. So you should definitely take a look at this.
Okay, one good question. The people are loving Helidon. They want to use even more and more and more. The question is, does Helidon have any kind of course, each in the web learning platform, any kind of thing to a specialization, to know more and go deep on Helidon?
Hi, Otavio, this is a business opportunity. Unfortunately, they are too young. Yeah, we don't have any course yet, right? So what we do have, we have our blog, and we have some other people blogging about Helidon. They have a rich set of documentation. We have some videos, but we don't have a course, so we need to really think about that. And we don't have a book, right? So which we possibly do need to think about too, right?
I should add here that the interest is really growing, and we're so happy to see it. And Yes, there's a rich example set. Even this application, the CLI application, I told you, if you want to hack in with Helidon, so you just get this application, run in it, answer a few questions, and you get several flavors of applications you can able to do. So really intuitive way of doing it. And I should mention that the website documentation, if you go there and search for documentation, I believe it's one of the best in industry. I'll be quite honest, because a lot of explanations and a lot of examples are given there. So so if people are interested in going there, so just the best place is website and then the documentation, and once again the CLI if you want to exactly play with it. But we will do more. I mean, so it's work in progress to give more examples and more. I'm not sure about courses, but yes, a way people learn it.
There are definitely ways to improve. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you see a lot of community contributions, for examples, or to Helidon itself? You know, it being an open source project, I'm assuming since the beginning. Like, what's that look like of community contributions to the project?
Now, we do have some community contributions, definitely, right? So I can't say that there is a lot of community contribution, but we did have some community contribution, and this is an opportunity. So all the listeners here, just contribute to Helidon, and today's Black Friday. Otavio is going to give you some free trials if you contribute to Helidon. Right?
Yes.
By the way, now there is a hackathon organized by another framework called MicroStream, right? And this is kind of long-term hackathon. It will be there until February next year, and they are giving away money. So they have a prize budget about 20,000 euros or dollars, right?
Dollars.
And Helidon has a special prize there, right? So me and Dmitry are in their committee there, right? And we will choose the best application which uses Helidon and MicroStream, and our prize is $2,500, right? So if you folks want to participate, right, and win $2,500, you are very welcome, right? And it would be absolutely perfect if someone contributes something like Helidon and MicroStream integration, for instance, right? So the project which integrates MicroStream to Helidon, right? And in this case, it may become a Helidon official contribution too.
Absolutely. We already, by the way, have some contributions. That means that, so if that interests, so exactly we're doing integration. So whenever you think that, so this is like a call to community, whatever you think that your product, like in this case, it was MicroStreams, like for example, is nicely to be integrated within Helidon. So we are there to support you. That means that we will give you directions how to do this. And I'm now calling out for action because I'm already doing some integrations right now. And I just from my experience say that it's quite easy to do, really easy. So you just do it.
Oh yeah. Okay, there is one question here. That's a nice one because you have a couple people who want to participate more. How to get in the Helidon project? How can they participate in the Helidon project itself? I mean, while you're speaking, don't worry. I will share the GitHub link, the GitHub repository.
Yeah, so that's actually the main thing. Go to our GitHub repository, clone, fork our project, and make a PR, right? And this PR will be reviewed by the Helidon team, and if it's okay, it will be merged, right? We are still on Oracle GitHub repository, so you will need to sign Oracle contribution agreement if you want to. If your PR is accepted, this is just a simple sign, so nothing really complicated there.
But once again, it's a Apache 2.0 license, and yes, it's on GitHub, so it's really easily done. So I don't think it's like every open source project, you just contribute. Yes, and the reaction is quite quick, by the way.
Okay. Can I work with Helidon and Spring Data? How can I mix the to work together with Spring?
No,
Is that possible?
the simple answer is you can't, right? Because yeah, just let me continue, right? Because Spring and Helidon, we are using different injections, right? We use CDI, Spring uses Spring injection, right? But the next version of Helidon will have integration with Micronaut, right? And Micronaut supports Micronaut data, which is very similar to Spring data. And this is what we've been testing our integration with on, right? So next version of Helidon, which is going to be 2.2, right? 2.3, right? It will have Micronaut extensions, which will allow you to use Micronaut data, right? Similar to Spring data. And some other Micronaut extension too. So
once again, if you get CDI extension of everything, which is the standard way, you just use it. Yes.
actually, to be fair, I love Spring data too, right? So if there is a lot of user requests, we may think about creating something similar for Helidon natively.
Yeah, that was a good one. Thank you, Victor. By the way, guys, if you have more questions, please let me know. We have right now 9 minutes left. And also talk about Spring in Helidon. I have one more question. Does it make sense to migrate my legacy application to Helidon?
Of course.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Definitely. Yes, you see, if it's a legacy, once again, if it's a legacy, at Helidon, you see, Helidon is no compromise. We're moving to Java Post 9. Yes.
Mitya, the question was, shall I move my legacy application to Helidon? And there was not a question why I should do it, right? So we're answering questions. Yes, it definitely makes sense, right? And why?
Because you get new
question,
technology.
Right? So we actually already answered that at the beginning, right? Because of the standards, because of the stuff, because of the support partially. So for WebLogic customers, it has even more sense, right? So there are basically many reasons. Because of our GraalVM support, for instance, and yeah. And actually, the Spring question, it comes in every single session, right? So Spring is very popular framework. I think they all love Spring, right? I think they all did a lot of programming with Spring, right? So why Helidon is better than Spring, right? And that's a difficult question, right? So for sure, if we're talking about integrations, and if we're talking about the community support, they are very young, right? And Spring is everything, right? So Spring is used to like 80% of the projects at the moment, right? So why Helidon is good? Okay, so I'll tell you one reason why Helidon is good, right? So when you're using Spring, you are basically dependent on half of the internet, half of the Maven repository, right? And it's sometimes it makes problems, especially if you are work for enterprise. I remember my previous project, there for every single third-party dependencies, we had to ask approvals to use, right? So more third-party dependencies you use, more approvals you request, and more responsibility you have, with upgrading, blah, 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 blah. So with Spring applications, you have the list quite big. In Helidon, we are trying, actually by design, it's one of our goals to use as less third-party dependencies as it is possible, right? So stick with JDK, make as less dependencies, and your third parties list, if you use Helidon, will be much smaller, right? It could be actually one of the big advantages, because you may think that, oh, hey, this is small, right? For some startup, yes, it's okay. But if you work for enterprise again, it may become a huge deal. right? So another thing to talk about here is again memory consumption, startup times, right? So and footprint on disk, right? So you have a small application, for instance, our quick start application, right? They actually measured some time ago. Similar application Spring Boot is about 10 times bigger than application on Helidon, right? So if that 100 megs doesn't make sense to you, it's fine, right? But if it does make sense to you, then it's Helidon application is just smaller. Smaller means that it's smaller. Your Docker image will become smaller, right? You will use less traffic and so on and so on and so on. So basically, pay less. Smaller size, you pay less, right? And another thing here is GraalVM support, right? So with Spring, actually, I've heard that they've done something with that, which is great. But we do support it for quite some time already. And if you are interested, sometimes maybe not for this project, maybe for next one and so on, use GraalVM, then Helidon is the day to go, right? Because they support it. If it makes sense, use it. Spring doesn't support it as well as we do.
And if you're using the new version of Java, by the way, we have JLink builds, which actually makes your full product even smaller if you're still running on JVM, for example. So this is also kind of something you should consider in you taking your business decisions as well.
There's one question from the audience. Does Halidon work better with Oracle JDKs and GraalVM?
No,
That's an easy one.
we do work with GraalVM. Yeah, we do work with JDKs. We don't have any specific Oracle JDK optimization, right? So it's supposed to work on every JDK, right? So yeah, so I don't quite understand the question exactly. So it was about Oracle product optimization, Oracle JVM and GraalVM, or something else. So if it's like that, then it's supposed to run well on every single JDK again. We don't have some special Oracle-related optimizations. But on the other hand, we work close with Java team, right? So we kind of, communicated with them, and it makes us a little bit more information, a little bit more details about how to do some stuff. But it's not really Oracle JDK related. It's mainly about, just how to make your code fast on any JDK.
Okay, that's amazing. We are almost over, and I need to do the last question. Before that, Shad, do you have any questions?
I know that from your recommendation of checking out the CLI create startup application with the SE flavor, like that's something that I'm curious myself in doing, just from having not a lot of experience. Do you see or have you put any effort in reaching out to a community of people who are just for the first time getting started with this idea of microservices, a lot of adoption of Helidon and either one of the flavors? I mean, maybe this goes kind of hand in hand with, do you have a course available? But what's the adoption in terms of getting started, even with the idea within MicroProfile or within the wider Java of doing microservices?
Now, look, I think the question is yes. We are trying to attract new users, and attraction is first of all CLI, right? It's easy to use, easy to generate template. You use this template for your bigger application, right? And it has templates for SE and for MP, for both, right? The other thing for adoption of new users is our website. We have a set of guides, right, which is also SE and MP. And if you have a simple task, I would like to use like metrics in my application. What shall I use, right? You have a guided document that says you have to do this, 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 and that. You call this, blah, blah, blah. So we try to make it as easy as possible. Even for some more complicated tasks like JPA with different databases and so on, right? So this information is there. And there are also quick start guides, quick start applications, right? This is what we use for all our samples. And these quick start applications, you can generate them using CLI, and you can generate them using Maven archetypes, right? So you basically do Maven archetype, blah, blah, blah. The information is on the website, how to use it. And you have your application generated absolutely standard Maven way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you start with that, this is very easy, right? I think it's even easy for users who are not really familiar what Java is, right? Especially with CLI way, right? Then you can actually step-by-step go to the more complicated stuff. But for more complicated stuff, we do have coverage in our documentation. We do have coverage for JPA, we do have coverage for observability, we do have coverage for reactive stuff and so on. But if you are really new in Java, you don't know anything, well, of course, you will need to study something, right? Study how the standards work, maybe read the specification, maybe read some books and so on and so on and so on. But this is a really beginner's use case, right? So if you have experience with Java, the steps I actually said, I talked about, it should be enough.
Sure. Okay.
But
by the way,
if you folks, if you folks have some feedback, right? We always appreciate feedback. If it's negative feedback, it's feedback too, right? So just ping us. My Twitter is written here.
Somewhere
right?
here, yes.
So tweet us, contact us, use our issues tracker or wherever possible we will be happy to help and improve. We really need to improve.
Yes.
Fantastic.
By the way, chat, that was interesting thing you actually said, because yes, I was always dealing with people from Java world, and if you're not from Java world, Helidon provides you exactly this opportunity to start without knowing what is a Maven, what is an archetype, what is a build system, etc., etc. So you just type in the CLI. It gives you ability not only to generate applications but to build them. That means you just Helidon built, it will build it for you. So it uses Maven underneath, but you don't have to think about it. So it's a good way of starting it. And the other thing is you have to develop. So there's developer mode. So whenever you change your file, it will see the change, recompile, restart it, and actually do the work for you. So once again, for even people who are coming from Go world or from JavaScript world, whatever other ecosystem, Helidon does provide you an opportunity to start fast without digging much into this Java world specific questions like Maven, archetypes, etc., etc. So yes, it's a good way to start.
Well, that's fantastic.
Okay.
I'm always curious when we're in charge of our own documentation and content, and always judging that line of familiarity with any one particular step of the process that a reader might have, a developer might have. So that's awesome.
And the last question is from Maximilian Arruda. When do not use Helidon?
You can use Helidon for everything. So definitely.
You don't have. You just said there is no negative answer to this.
Let's put it this way: Helidon is a microservices framework, right? So if you would like to create a monolith application, you can't use Helidon for that. You use Jakarta application server, right? For everything else, use Helidon. And if you have problems using Helidon, contact us, and we will be more than happy to help you, folks.
But I'm quite happy. But I'm not sure you won't face any problems really, because it's really nicely done.
Okay, well, we are over time. So that was an amazing conversation about Helidon. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Dmitry.
Very nice to meet both of you.
See you next Friday.
Okay, Deploy Friday.